What's up and welcome back. Since you clicked on this video, I'm just going to give you a very short recap. My mom was feeling tension around her neck, shoulders, and the sides of her back for about 2 weeks, and I decided, okay, it's finally my day off, might as well treat you, and while I'm treating you, I might as well record the session. Okay, so now let's get started. What you're currently watching right now is me palpating my mom just so I can find any tension or tightness in her upper body. And what I have found was tension around her shoulders, tight chest, a lot of tension coming from her mid-low back as well as her hip flexor region. I also found a little bit of tightness around the rib cage too. So these are areas that I'm obviously going to focus on in this treatment. I can't really tell you much about the other findings just because I'm in a little bit of a time frame here. So the very first movement that I asked her to do is T-spine lateral rotation. And I don't know if you guys have a good eye, but can you see her hips wanting to move with her? Second movement is T-spine lateral flexion, and I can already see where she's compensating. Now her third movement is a back extension, and as you can see, my mom's bending her knees to try and get into a full range. Her final movement was getting into flexion, and I can already see that her back is rounding when she's trying to touch her toes, and she instantly felt tightness in her hamstrings. Before I explain to you my findings and what my treatment will look like, big congrats to my girl Jacinta, who just made a face debut in this video. She's expecting a baby girl same week as my birthday, so I'm super excited for this. After the palpation and the assessment phase, I found that my mom is a little bit limited with a couple of her movements, and she's tight in certain areas and felt uncomfortable when I told her to do the movements I just explained to you. So in terms of treatment, I'm going to be focusing a lot from her neck, shoulders, back, her pecs. I'm going to open up her hips, which means I have to open up her glutes, and a little bit of stretches for her hamstrings just so that she can feel better and move better. So I'm not going to be talking much during the treatment portion, only because I want you to sit back and watch with what I'm doing here. Mind you, this wasn't a relaxation focus. I was either using moderate to deep pressure. Sometimes I'll have to modify it into a lighter pressure, only because she did feel sensitive in certain areas. So what I'm gonna do, and this is what's gonna cause her a bit more pain, is me getting underneath the clavicle and on top and just basically releasing as much tension as I can. So I don't think you can see it, but maybe I'll try and grab onto that. A few exercises first. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna repeat, okay? Sorry. So this is gonna be considered our warm-up. And then we're going to go into our strength sets, which is going to be a dumbbell press, a dumbbell row, and then a dumbbell Yeah, so it's a very sensitive spot for her. So it's a little bit hard to get into. So what I'm doing next is a PNF for her shoulder. So basically she's gonna be doing a shoulder shrug, and she's meeting my resistance as I push down, just to release anything that's built up in here and just bring it more neutral. Okay, so treatment portion is almost coming to an end, and in a few seconds you're going to be seeing her before and afters. Okay, so I realized the before and after clips were a little too short for me to do another voice recording, so I actually have to create this video and explain to you everything that I found. In the first movement, which was her moving into T-spine lateral rotation, you see that her hips are no longer moving with her, and that's actually a really good thing. It shows you that those hips are no longer as stiff, like it's not dragging with her anymore. So she's actually using more of her back this time, and I'm actually really happy to see that difference. In the second movement, which was her T-spine lateral flexion, I'm actually really happy to see the results here. When I was comparing her before and after, I see that in the before, she wanted to use this shoulder and like drag it forward when she was leaning to the side, and now this time she isn't. When I asked her, you know, did you feel any discomfort or anything, she told me nope, like she's able to move a little bit more, didn't feel much pain in her low back, mid back, and like those were good signs. And in her third movement, which was back extension, she didn't use her knees to bend back anymore. Like she was actually keeping herself nice and neutral and just used her back to get into a full extension. So that was a good thing that I noticed during that session. And her fourth movement, which is the one clip I fucked up on in her after, it was amazing. Like she was able to bend a lot lower, very, very close to touching her toes. Hamstrings didn't feel as tight, not using so much of her back. Like you don't see that roundness in her back anymore. One thing I do have to push her into doing when she's home is stretching and doing a bit more mobility, only because she's been home a lot more, she's sitting down a lot. She is working out, but she hasn't been doing much of the self-care portion. So possibly in the next few weeks, I'll post maybe a part 2 and we'll get to see what major changes she was able to do this time. So before this video comes to an end, I just want to say thank you so much for you guys for staying in tune, watching this video. If you do want a part 2, please make sure to comment below, and I'm pretty sure my mom will be excited to have another massage. But just a quick update for those of you who haven't been following me on my IG posts or stories, or don't follow me at all on Instagram, I'm actually pausing my RMT license this year, November, only because there's a huge opportunity I'm actually taking. Like it's a big risk, but it's a good risk. So stay tuned for that one. Bye.